Call our regular meeting of the Clinton Hospital Authority, the Clinton Recreational Authority, the Clinton Airport Authority, and the Clinton Solid Waste Authority to order. Berlinda Dorman is here with the Cornerstone Church. Would you offer our prayer?
Yes. Lord, we come to you right now. God, I thank you for today. Lord, I thank you for just the beautiful weather that you've given us. Lord, I just pray that you be with us today, God, that you would continue to lead us and guide us. God, I thank you for these leaders that are here that are giving of their time. Lord, I just pray that you continue to be with them and just lead and guide us in our community. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Councilman Stewart, pledge allegiance.
Join in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome all. Merry Christmas. You've had your minutes sent to you. Do I hear a motion? Make a motion. Second.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Gallo?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes. All right. Fashionable, I think, it is. That's it. All right. We have one action item, and that will carry us through several authorities and conclusion. And we're happy to welcome James Kirkendall. James, you're the one who's going to be presenting, okay, our audit, city audit, 2017-2018. Would you like to address us?
Appreciate the board having us back this year to do the audit again this year. Everything went well. I'd like to thank all the administrative staff that helped us during the process. As I said, it all went well, and usually one of the first questions somebody asks whenever you have an audit, they want to know, are we in better shape this year than we were last year? And the answer is yes, we are. Because our working capital, you have schedules in the audit, like in page 14 is a group-wide or government-wide financial statement of the net position of the city of Clinton, and it's broken down between the governmental entities and what's considered business-type entities. And our total assets for the year exceeded our liabilities by $61,954,000, and so that is up roughly $4,128,000 over the previous year between the two different types of entities, and that is broken down on page 16 between the governmental and the business type. The governmental activities, which includes our general fund or operating account, we net increase in our financial position $2,174,500, and the increase in the business type activities, and by that we're talking about the authorities, Public Works Authority, Industrial Authority, and so forth, $1,953,646. So that's our $4,128,146 increase over the previous year. And when you look at the balance sheet, you'll notice where that increase is. If you look at your current assets, our current assets are up $2,817,000 over the previous year. And then when you look at our current liabilities, they're down by $565,473. And in turn, we also reduced some of our debt, indebtedness, both the bonds and the notes payable, and those decreased by a little over $1 million. So you see we increased our current assets, we decreased our current liabilities, also increased our long-term indebtedness. So combination of all of those, that accounts for that $4 million that we had increase in our net position for the year. far as the other things that you would want to know, we did meet all of our restrictions and covenants related to our bonded indebtedness. On page 32 shows where we met our covenants related to our bonded indebtedness. We're required to keep 1.25 equity ratio, and whenever you check that, it comes out about 2.9, so we're well over the requirements on our bonded indebtedness. As far as budget laws, pages 48 and 49 shows those items, shows that we did indeed meet our budget law. We did not exceed our appropriations, met all the requirements and regulations related to our budget laws. Also, that we're current on all of our debt payments, whether it be current items or bonded indebtedness. Other items, such as our revenues. Of course, our revenues this year, pretty much across the board, we had increases: sales tax, use tax, motel tax, franchise tax. All of those taxes increased over the previous year. We did extensive increases in equipment. A lot of it related to the water system, but we did have other equipment purchases, infrastructure, and so forth. Their schedules of fixed assets on page 34 showing all of our fixed assets. Our debt service schedules, pages 36, 37, and 38 shows all of our indebtedness. And then the transfer between the various accounts. That's kind of confusing sometimes, but there's a schedule on page 39 showing those transfers. But, with our increase in our revenues, in turn, in the operating account, the general government account, we had a decrease in overall expenses at the same time. So we got the double effect this time, increase in revenues and decrease in our expenditures. So that accounts for the $2 million increase in the governmental activities. Now that governmental activities on page 16 is broken down further to show you what activities are included on that on pages 17 and 18. General fund, the capital improvement fund, the sales tax, drug seizure fund, cemetery and grant fund. Those all fall into the government activities categories. And then on pages 20 and 21 shows which items are included in the business type activities: public works authority, solid waste, airport, trust, recreation trust, hospitals, and then the industrial authority. So those make up what is considered a business type activity. But and each one of those, like I said, just summarized on page 16, shows that we had increases in both types, the governmental as well as the business type. Shows that our current ratios, current liabilities to current assets were in excellent shape. And as I said, we met all of our requirements. State and federal regulations related to financial reporting, related to debt service, related to our budget act. So overall, the city has done well this year. Increased your financial position substantially. So we feel like it is a good report for the city this year. And anybody has any questions, I'll try and answer.
On the area of the use tax, you said that was, it was up.
Yes.
And what's the monitoring deadline that you have on the use tax?
All of the reporting is from July 1st of 2017 through June 30th of 18. Of course, what is reported in July, which would have been June's, is pulled back in so that we keep it on an accrual.
Internet reporting, which goes into use tax, correct? That's the, but that's really not, that's a new phenomenon in that report, in terms of how that affected the,
Well, you're talking about the new entities that are starting to collect
yes,
taxes.
yes.
Yes, that would, of course, we hadn't had the current effect on all of that.
Right.
But we've had substantial reporting on the use taxes for several years.
It has been coming up, hasn't it?
Yes.
Substantially.
Not, well, maybe in the last few months, but over the year, it is, yes. That's one of those things that can vary greatly. It just depends on the report.
There's a lot more companies, I think, that have joined the party in terms of collecting tax that has been remitted back to the cities.
Yes.
Since, was it March of last year that they started?
Oh, it's April. It was
April.
April, we actually.
That was the
started
first
collecting.
kind of month of possibilities. Okay. It's good.
And basically, our opinion states that we feel like these financial statements do represent an accurate description of the financial condition of the city as of June 30th, 2018.
Are there any other questions? Do we need a motion to accept the report?
Make a motion to accept it as presented.
Second.
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
Councilman Dowdell?
Yes.
Councilman Gonzalez?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. All right. Any comments from trustees and any particular authorities?
We've got one more
Where?
action item back. Well, that's on Public Works, I'm sorry.
I'm coming, yeah, that's, she's got that separate. Okay, any reports? What about?
No,
anything
I'll-
else?
I'll reserve mine.
Okay. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Dowdell?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Call to order the regular meeting of the Clinton Public Works Authority. We've had your consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Dowdell?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. All right, two action items. Well, one, we've already considered the presentation and consideration on the audit. And on action item B, consider take action on resolution PW 18-02 regarding adjusting water rates.
Tim, this action item, I go to you because of the bond money and your I think when we took the bond on, we set up 2 water rate increases. We have determined that the money that we received from the 1 water rate increase, which was effective, I believe, was it January 1 of 15?
I think 14.
14, no, 14 was actually, 15 was.
15, okay.
And then the sales tax that we collected earmarked for repayment of the bond is sufficient such that we don't have to enact the second water rate that was implemented or approved at that time. And every year about this time, we have passed this resolution simply saying that we're not going to implement the second water rate increase for the upcoming year. That's what this is about.
The reason being, because when we did that resolution at that time, it was phase 1 and phase 2 were approved. We just keep deferring phase 2 of the rate increase until we have that meeting.
So that's what this would be about.
Right, we're not going to implement phase 2. The staff recommendation is to approve resolution number PW 18-02.
Clear on that? A resolve not to increase rates.
Approve this, we're saying we're not going to raise it.
Yes,
Right.
we're not
Motion, we approve this.
That's right.
A second.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Dowdell?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Any trustee comments or remarks in Public Works?
I would take time to, make very clear to the council and those in attendance here that this increase in cash position is due to the efforts of your department heads and their staff. They worked very hard at getting, being careful with the city's money, collecting the city's money, but it just doesn't happen. There are efforts out there that take place every day. And I'm not going to sit here and take credit for it because I may be involved in those decisions, but they're brought to me. And your department heads and your staff are the ones that deserve the credit for what your financial statements show this year. That's all I have.
Okay, that's great. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Trustee Stewart? Trustee Rosales?
Yes.
Trustee Dowdell?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Call the meeting, order the regular meeting of the Clinton Industrial Authority. You have your consent agenda. I hear a motion.
Second.
Trustee Rosales?
Yes.
Trustee Dowdell?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. We have 4 action items. Presentation and consideration, which we've already dealt with on the audit. And this next item B, consider, discuss, and take action on adjourning to executive session with the purpose of purchase or appraisal of real property, 25 Oklahoma SS 07B3. Do I hear a motion to adjourn to executive session?
Motion to adjourn.
And invite me and Mark if you want more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and add, you make a motion.
Yes, sir.
And then also to invite Mr. Meacham and Mr. Skiles.
I make the motion to adjourn to executive session with Meacham and Skiles.
Beautiful. Thank you. You betcha. That's it.
Trustee Dowdell?
Yep.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Rosales?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Do we have a motion to return to regular meeting executive session?
Make a motion, we leave the executive session, re-enter city council session.
Second.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Dowdell?
Yes.
Trustee Rosales?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. I'd like to refer to our legal counsel and for an explanation.
Council, for your approval tonight, I have an executed contract offering to sell the south 49.5 feet, north 79.5 feet of lots 10 through 12, of block 28, original township of Clinton, for the purchase price of $60,000, signed by Bill and Darla Wisdom for this property right here across the street to the east, or a portion of the property. For your consideration and acceptance tonight, sign the contract, and we will close on it within 20 or 30 days after we do the appropriate due diligence.
I make the motion, we accept the contract.
Second.
Trustee Dowdell?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Rosales?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Do we have any other trustee remarks in this area? Mark?
No, sir.
Anything? Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Rosales?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Dowdell?
Yes.
And Chairman.
Yes. Call to order the regular meeting of the Clinton City Council. Minutes, consent agenda, do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Councilman Rosales?
Yes.
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
Councilman Dowdell?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. All right, moving through action item A, we have dealt with. B, consider and take action on the appointment to the Midwestern Oklahoma Industrial Foundation Board. Now, we currently have as our members our city manager, Mark Skiles, and the expiring term of Curtis Constantine. Is that
I think both of our terms are expiring, aren't they?
Yes.
simultaneously? Okay. And we are to consider reappointment and then appointment of a new position, or person to serve. Curtis Constantine has asked to be replaced. And for those of you that don't know, it's this board actually works as an umbrella organization over MOTA, or is it?
MOA was the original organization that existed. MOA grew out of that. MOA is for the smaller communities to have a voice in MOA. There are actually 2 members of MOA that are appointed to the MOA board. We meet once a year. We listen to the audit for MOA. We elect officers. We approve a budget. MOA owns no property.
And the communities represented now are in addition to Clinton, Oak City, Hobart, and Roosevelt. And it has been suggested that we consider the appointment of Lisa Anders as a new member of this particular body. And don't hide your eyes. Are there any questions? Okay, Lisa, all right, your second?
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
Councilman Rosales?
Yes.
Councilman Dowdell?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes.
Mark, your term expires as well.
Yeah, the motion
Oh,
was
okay, I'm
passed
sorry.
for both.
Yeah.
I wondered about that.
That's right. Well, let's just do it separately then. Get a motion to reappoint City Manager Mark Skiles to the board also.
I make a motion to appoint Mark Skiles.
Second?
Councilman Dowdell?
Yes.
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
Councilman Rosales?
Yeah, yes.
And Mayor.
Yes, a hearty yes. Okay. Consider and take action on ordinance number 993 regarding regulations of open burning and outdoor fire. Fire Chief Brett Russell is here to talk to us about this.
Well, if you guys have looked through our ordinances, we really didn't have anything pertaining to this. If you look back, the last ordinance we had, we basically had burning garbage trash and burning any garbage trash or other refuse in the city is prohibited. So what this does, when we get called out for somebody having a burn barrel in their yard, or a decorative chimney, or any kind of fire pit, this puts a little bit of regulation on what size it can be, where it can be located at. Also, it gives us the ability, if you're in a non-residential area, such as the VA Center, who needs to burn limbs or anything like that, or the fire department needs to do training within our city limits, say we do something out at Acme, something like that. It really just kind of establishes something, because we really didn't have anything. So when we would get called out, and I would determine, yeah, that fire ring is way too big, it's not safe. I really don't have anything to go back on. And so this is just kind of filling some of the voids, kind of help us have some parameters as far as burning. You still cannot burn trash or anything like that within city limits, but it just kind of, like I said, fills in some of the holes that we've got. With decorative, I don't know, fire pits and stuff like that.
But it does allow for the burning of tree limbs that are generated on your own personal.
No, this still does not do that within anything within a residentially zoned area. That's something that we can look at down the road, but at this time, in the residentially zoned areas, you still cannot burn anything. You can do outdoor cooking, or if you had a chimney or something like that, just like we do currently. We allow people to have a fire pit or anything like that, but we don't have any regulations on how big can it be, how close can it be to a house. But if it's not zoned residential, such as the VA Center, I met with Toby, Ryan got to look at this and help with this, and we were just able to look at other cities to kind of see what they're doing. And so I established a burn permit, so bonfires are covered under this, which was previously not covered. So if the school wanted to do a bonfire, and what we're asking as the fire department is, we just want to know about it.
Right.
What are they burning? If the VA's burning, I want to know what they're burning, what time they're going to light it, when they're going to light it, et et cetera, just so we're kind of prepared.
Actually,
It doesn't affect anything outside of city
It
limits.
gives teeth to you guys, you have something more
Yeah,
than
absolutely.
just the air to
Yeah.
make a decision.
Take some of the subjectivity.
Right.
It will not prevent us as the American Legion, having our ceremonial flag exposed.
No, sir, I mean, if you've already been doing that, this isn't an issue.
Been doing it before we started.
Sure, absolutely, and you're not zoned residential out there where you're at, so it doesn't affect that. Do you guys have any questions? We came up with, I'll hand these to you, this is something similar to what possibly the burn permit would look like when they came in, and you guys, hopefully you read the ordinance.
This is the amended, there's an amendment.
Yeah, I think Lisa, had you guys a new copy?
Yeah.
So I drafted it, and after Chief Russell had a chance to look at it, he fixed what I had messed up, and so they reran it. You need to adopt the revised ordinance that Lisa has provided, is not the one that's on the.
And the changes that we made had no bearing on the effectiveness of the ordinance, just kind of cleaned up a little bit.
Well, this was one change, I mean, when it's
It was just two words.
Yeah.
two words.
Basically changed.
Staff recommendation is to approve.
Right.
How much is the fee?
We're talking about $25 would be the fee to do that. Like I say, guys, this isn't really, we don't have this happen a lot as far as inside city limits, anybody burning. But it allows us the ability, we didn't want to set the fee in the ordinance, but we wanted to be able to have something when the VA calls, or if I need to go out to Acme and do something out there, and it kind of allows the city to do some stuff that we weren't previously, there was nothing really governing that.
Okay, so this form would be administered here in a regular fee.
I believe, according to the ordinance, it would go through Lisa's office.
Okay.
I think that's the way I, Lisa's like,
Another permit.
Could you call in if you're doing it and say, hey, you'd have to come down here?
yeah, you would need to do that. And of course, we're not here to create more havoc. We just want to know. And like I said, guys, really, it's the VA center is the only time I run into that. And we wanted the ability for them to still be able to do what they needed to do. We just felt like it needed to be cleaned up.
Well, like
as far as
a bonfire at
ordinance.
the school, like a bonfire at the school.
Right.
Okay, so their procedure.
And they're doing that right now by contacting us. But this way, we've kind of got some record and we kind of have some abilities to make sure we know everything that's going on.
I make the motion to approve the ordinance.
Second.
Councilman Dowdell?
Yes.
Councilman Rosales?
Yes.
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Okay, Brad.
Well, I'm just going to set it up.
But yeah, we're gonna skip. D, consider, discuss, take action on contract for the purchase of south 50.5 feet of lot 1012 to block 28 original town site of Clinton, Oklahoma. Ryan, you want to, now this is as a result of us having, as a council, ask our city manager to negotiate on a piece of property that is,
Yeah, last time we were here, we had been approached by Denny Meacham to sell this piece of property. It is the south 50.5 feet of 10 through 12 of block 28 original township. It abuts the property here to the east. We had an appraisal, and it was, we agreed to purchase it from Denny for the cash purchase price of $26,000 and a letter evidencing a donation in the amount of $24,000, which matches the appraisal amount. So it's Mr. Meacham gave us a discount there for a donation letter. Signed by him, ready to be executed by us tonight, and same thing, closing within 30 days as soon as we get our due diligence done.
question, Ian, on that negotiated amount? All right, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
Councilman Delia?
Yes.
Councilman Rosales?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes. Okay. Brad, did you go on? Oh, no, you didn't. You just up and down. All right, consider and discuss request for authorization to bid on new dispatch equipment.
Guys, before I get started on that, I just want to introduce it. You're probably wondering, I mean, there's this huge crowd of firemen.
Scary,
and other people.
but it is, it's frightening.
But I just wanted to introduce some people. A lot of what this affects is our partners for first responders across this area of our county. So I have Ann Wilson, who's with CNA Ambulance, Travis Hartley's with the Butler Fire Department, Johnny Red's with Signer EMS, you guys know him, Jared Howell's the fire chief in Arapahoe, Butler EMS and Custer City Fire Department were unable to be here. But if you guys read through your package, you can kind of understand their skin in the game on this. So the fire department and police department are looking to replace our dispatch equipment. If you guys remember, it's been months ago, but we got new handhelds and new mobile units. If you remember, I told you that was about half of our project. The second half would be the dispatch equipment. Updating that, it's 20 plus years old as well. So all of our lines that run from our basement, if you've ever gone down there and looked at it, all the way to the front dispatch area, our consoles, all of that stuff. So we're looking at upgrading all that, computerizing all that. Every line will be replaced. So there will be no more possibilities of frayed wires. We've run into that a few times and found some faulty areas that we've had to try to patch. So we're looking to replace every bit of that. So when I visited with the city manager, this was not a budgeted item. I did not realize that we would be taking this on as quick as what we did. But I told him, I said, it's about $64,000 that we're looking at. And so I went to every entity and all of our partners that we dispatched with, and I just asked them if they would consider giving towards the purchase of this equipment. So we were able to raise half of it, $31,799.12. So what I'm asking the council to do is to approve the purchase of this equipment, and with half of it being offset, or go to bid.
Go to bid, yeah,
Sorry.
you're asking for authority to go to bid.
And so, as you can tell, I put on the list in your packet all these cities and these entities that are giving towards this. I think this is a very worthwhile cause. It's a safety concern. As you guys know, the last time I presented and talked about our radio equipment, and I explained that was the first half, and this is the second half. So every bit of our communications equipment, from the water tower, our antennas, our coax, everything in our basement will all be replaced and be new, up to that.
Let me ask, if you're going to bid, then that figure $63,598.24, is that, are we asking people to bid at that price, or do we?
No,
How does this work?
you don't ask for a bid price, you ask them to bid on a specific set of equipment. Brett has a very good idea that that's the amount of money that this equipment is going to cost. But we will look at the bids and then the decision will be made. So to incorporate that number in is not an issue tonight. We're just letting you know what we think our income is.
So that's an educated,
Very educated.
highly educated,
Yeah, we're just asking for the right to go out to bid on this equipment. That's what we're asking.
I was riding, I was telling Brett this earlier this week, I was riding with the highway patrol up to Woodward to basically a basketball game the other day. And we didn't even, I didn't know this was going to be on the agenda. They said, this is just out of the blue. And he said, it is, we cannot, the highway patrol cannot hear Clinton Police Department. It's so loud.
And that's our dispatch
And this is,
coming through those consoles.
this is addressing
and
that.
then 2 days later, I meet with Brett and the bus is on, so it's a concern. It's great. Yeah. And you go out and raise your money.
They currently are, yes, sir.
I think it's really strong having this cooperative money coming in.
Absolutely.
You know, and anything Hunt does or is involved in, anytime you resource other money, I mean, it's a powerful statement about the item. So, do I hear a motion to allow this to go out to bid?
I make a motion to go out to bid.
Councilman Dowdell?
Yes.
Councilman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes.
And I would just add, when you guys get to see or meet some of our partners out there from all these communities, meet them, shake their hand, tell them thanks, because
Yeah.
we don't get to do what we do without the red, so that's for sure.
Absolutely. All right, item F, consider and discuss request for authorization for purchase of new fire engine.
Guys, this was a budget approved item. When I came to you guys with our budget for this year. And what I was asking was to go out for a lease purchase of $125,000 a year. I kind of done my research early on what a fire engine was going to cost us to replace our engine 91. I won't read through this whole thing because I'm assuming you guys have. But basically, we're going to be replacing an engine that's 28 years old. It's almost 30 years old. It's been a very good engine. There's still value in it. We're going to be able to sell that piece of equipment. Some smaller department probably is going to really get a really good truck. My purposes, though, are to try to figure out and be a little more proactive on our apparatus and how we replace those versus us waiting until it's too late and then we're scrambling around trying to make sure we're having everything that we need to do the job that we're trying to do. So when I came to the council with my budget item, it was $125,000 a year for a lease purchase. As you've read through there, I went out to 4 manufacturers. This is all through state contract pricing, so it doesn't have to go out to bid. But I still reached out to the 4 main manufacturers, and I started getting quotes from them on a particular set of specs. It just so happened that Pierce, which is one of the largest fire apparatus manufacturers around, came in with the best price and the best deal on loose equipment and the rig itself. So that was kind of exciting to me. They were very aggressive on the price of the truck, even beating state bid pricing. Pierce actually offered another concession, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, just to try to entice the city of Clinton of going with Pierce. Pierce is a phenomenal company. Their service is phenomenal. That's who I was actually wanting. I was hoping to do that through that company. The lease purchase option, I think, is a great deal. I would encourage us to go all shop with all the local banks, every local bank we have in town for the best interest rate. We got a quote through Pierce Financial, which is basically Pierce Manufacturing has a financial side that offers their services to fire departments and cities. And theirs was at 4.57%. And I would love to see a local bank participate and be a part of this with the city of Clinton. So any questions you guys have?
It's a 5-year.
5-year payout, yes, sir.
5-year payout. And was the amount of the budget 125 or 150?
125.
125,
Yes.
okay.
And we came in just a little bit under that, 124,950, so $50 just there. That could still adjust if, we got a better interest rate from the local bank.
So you're asking the council to authorize you to purchase this truck under lease purchase stipulations up to the budget amount, which is $125,000.
Yes, sir.
With a caveat that it is a 5-year note.
Yes.
And you will negotiate with the local banks to see if in fact
Right.
there are better terms on their behalf than would be coming directly from the manufacturer.
Correct.
Staff recommendations to approve.
I think that fire trucks, just like the police cars and ambulances, if you need them and they can't run, you're in trouble.
I agree.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
Councilman Dowdell?
Yes.
Councilman Gonzalez?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
You got anything else, Brad? We will need that at the council meeting. Thank you very much. Good job. Appreciate it very much. Consider and take action on change order 1, change order 2, and change order 3 with Lone Hickory Cattle LLC regarding Highway 40 waterline relocation project. Mark, would you-
Yeah, this project refers to the waterline relocation that's being done out here over the Washita, Gary Boulevard on the south side of the bridge. It is 100% reimbursement to the city. Change orders are supposed to come in front of the council for your consideration. It was my oversight that they did. These change orders were a result of what we found underground versus what we thought was underground when we started. So, again, no cost to the city, but these change orders do need to come to the city for your approval. I think we started out at 64,000 and wound up is the total, that's change order number 1. Can you go down to, can you find 3? Can. There we go. Number 2, keep going.
Going.
All right.
Got it.
Down one. Okay, so I want you to see that $103,000 figure. The 3 change orders added up to enough to go from 64,000 up down to 103,000. But the change orders were necessary in order to complete the project. And all the necessary signatures are on there. You can see the engineer, the contractor, West, myself, the city. And of course, it's been approved by ODOT personnel. So we're good to go on this. In fact, I believe the project is complete. It's just a formality that these change orders come in from the council. I'm asking you to approve them.
I make a motion to approve the change orders.
Do we have to put this up and it be completed before we get our money back?
No, we are to the point now that we will make application to ODOT to be a reimbursement.
It's a completed project.
There is no cost to the city.
How long is it gonna take this project done?
We're done.
It is done?
It's done.
We're just taking care of something that would have been, we could have done earlier.
Right.
Mark.
Right.
It's just cleaning things up.
It was just a formality to get
Right.
paperwork. I say that.
Councilman Dowdell?
Yes.
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
Councilman Rosales? And Mayor.
Yes. All right, any councilman comments? Anything, city council? Mark?
You know, the only thing I would say is to thank everybody in attendance here tonight that stepped up to plate to be a part of what it is that we do with you and for you. Thank every one of you for coming. It's a pleasure and joy to, work with people that want to be at the table and you do. So, do the fact that you and Brett get along is good. We help you, you help us. Appreciate it very much, and thank you again for coming. That's all I got.
And Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Very much you did, adjourn.
Second.
Councilman Dowdell?
Yes.
Councilman Stewart?
Yes.
Councilman Rosales?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes.